Hello and welcome. In today's video, we will listen to a simple story in English. It's about a young girl named Emma who goes on an adventure to climb a mountain. Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by trees and fields, there was a young girl named Emma. Emma was 12 years old. She had long brown hair and bright blue eyes that sparkled when she smiled. Emma was a very curious and brave girl. While other children in the village played games, Emma loved to explore the forest and discover new things. She often spent hours walking in the woods, listening to the sound of birds and the rustling of the leaves. One sunny morning, Emma woke up early. The birds were singing outside her window, and the sun was shining brightly. She quickly ate her breakfast, a piece of toast with honey, and ran outside. She loved the mornings when the air was fresh and cool. That day, Emma decided to explore a new path she had seen the day before, near the edge of the village. She had never gone that way before, but she was very curious about what she might find. As she walked down the new path, Emma saw many beautiful flowers in all colors. Some were purple, some were yellow, and others were white. She stopped to smell them and smiled. The path led her deeper into the forest, where the trees were tall and the shadows were cool. After walking for some time, she heard a sound coming from behind a bush. Emma stepped carefully towards the sound, wondering what it was. When she reached the bush, she peeked around it and saw a small rabbit. It looked up at her with big brown eyes before hopping away. Emma giggled and continued walking. The path started to climb up a hill, and Emma noticed that the air was becoming cooler. As she reached the top of the hill, she stopped to rest and looked around. From there, she could see the whole village, the fields, and the river that flowed through the valley. Emma had always wondered what it would be like to see the village from high above. It was beautiful. But there was something else she noticed. Far in the distance, on the other side of the forest, stood a large mountain. The mountain looked very tall, and its top was covered with snow. Emma had heard stories about this mountain, but she had never been close to it. She wondered what it would be like to stand at the top and see the world below. That evening, back in the village, Emma spoke to the old man who lived near the river. He was very wise and had lived in the village for many years. Emma asked him about the mountain. "The mountain is very special," the old man said. "It is said that the view from the top is more beautiful than anything else. But it is not easy to climb. The way is difficult, and the weather can change very quickly. Many people try to climb, but only a few make it to the top." Emma was excited, but also nervous. She had never climbed a mountain before, but the old man's story made her even more determined. "I will climb the mountain," Emma thought. "I will see the world from the top." The next day, Emma packed a small bag with food, water, and her favorite book. She put on her warmest jacket and shoes and started her journey early in the morning. The sun was rising, and the sky was clear. She walked through the forest, crossing streams and walking on rocky paths. She even saw a deer quietly grazing in the grass. It was a peaceful walk, but Emma was excited to reach the base of the mountain. When she finally arrived at the foot of the mountain, Emma looked up. The mountain was much bigger than she had imagined. The snow-covered peak seemed so far away, and the trees around the base were tall and thick. Emma took a deep breath. She felt nervous, but she knew she could do it. She started to climb. At first, the climb was not too hard. The path was wide and clear. Emma passed through forests and fields, and the views were amazing. But as she climbed higher, the path became steeper, and the air became colder. She could feel the wind blowing stronger, and the trees were becoming smaller. Emma started to feel tired, but she did not stop. She remembered the old man's words and kept going. On the way up, Emma met a few other travelers. One of them was an old woman who was carrying a basket of food. The woman smiled at Emma and said, "You are very brave, little one. Not many people climb this mountain." Emma smiled back and thanked her. The woman gave Emma some fruit from her basket, and they talked for a few minutes before continuing on their way. As Emma climbed higher, the weather began to change. Dark clouds started to cover the sky, and the wind became stronger. Suddenly, it started to snow. Emma quickly pulled her jacket tighter and kept climbing, step by step. She was getting closer to the top, but the snow made the path slippery. At one point, Emma almost slipped, but she grabbed a tree branch and pulled herself up. Finally, after a long and difficult climb, Emma reached the top of the mountain. She could hardly believe it. The snow was thick, and the wind was strong, but the view was more beautiful than anything Emma had ever seen. She could see the whole valley below, with the river shining like a silver thread. The village looked tiny from so high up. Emma felt proud of herself. She had made it to the top. She sat on a large rock, took out her book, and began to read. The wind was cold, but Emma felt warm inside. She was so happy that she had reached the top of the mountain. She had faced her fears and climbed to the highest point she could see. After a while, Emma knew it was time to go back. She stood up, took one last look at the view, and began her descent down the mountain. The way down was easier, but Emma still had to be careful. When she reached the bottom, the sun was setting. The sky was painted with colors of orange and pink, and the stars were starting to appear. Emma walked back to the village, tired but happy. She had done something amazing. That night, Emma lay in bed and smiled. She had gone on an adventure, and it had been more than she ever expected. She had climbed the mountain, seen the world from the top, and learned something important. No matter how big the challenge, with courage and determination, anything is possible. Thank you for listening to Emma's story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more English practice videos. See you next video.